greetings. I'm joining us tonight's broadcast. Brought to you by Absolute Insanity, as usual, some form or another. So this is As the World Implodes, timeline shift, Galactic Wars. Hopefully I spelled that right. I think so. And the Wolf Realm. So we did the wolves yesterday, and the channeling. I tried to tap into that energy again. So the world imploding, and so here we are. Always on a health standpoint, there's a lot of manipulations going on. I mean, I'm not going to go into super details, but it's getting kind of, I guess darkness is just, I guess they just don't care anymore. So, all these health rules are putting out there, it's just, they're just showing how powerful they are. That's all. So they're going to push people until they fight back. That's what's happening right now. That's what it looks like. So if people are going to be complacent and take it, I don't know. They're just taking away rights left and right. So yeah, it's not going to last forever. Something's going to give eventually. So, for those who are new to all of this, SimonTower.com, I have private sessions, maybe. I have a shop here. I'm on the 14th, I think. 16th. Same situation here. Webinar sign up. Social network, Rabbit, behind the scenes, and a dating site. So, well, in case you haven't noticed, the world is in some kind of propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda happening right now. At least on a health direction. So probably, at least it feels like mid-August something's going to give eventually. But right now we're just going through mainstream manipulation. So of course people are giving away their power left and right, and that's fine. But there's just a lot of feels like government corruption is at its highest at this time, justifying their darkness. And I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I guess humanity just needs to learn this stuff, and obviously they're going to learn it. So, of course, if you say anything if you say against it, anything on that, it just feels mid-August, and for some changes to occur somewhere. I think next week's going to be this week's been kind of busy as for manipulation, which I'm not going into detail of what exactly. Just take away people's rights. You can't get a job unless you do, this is getting ridiculous now. So I'm kind of walking around my words, but it's just, they're just becoming just inhumane at this time. So for something that doesn't really exist, they're just taking advantage of the situation. So taking advantage of people's gullibility and so forth. So I guess it doesn't feel like they care at all. So I guess we'll find out where things are heading in that direction. So Galactic Wars. I don't want to make the title too long for this. But some of us have had lifetimes that are questionable. Everyone's had some kind of dark lifetime in some form or another. But also, Galactic Wars is also for clearing out old energies, basically for like planets that go to a higher frequency, but then they stop evolving, stop going anywhere. And so they get taken out, and the new species come out of it eventually. Kind of like a gardener clearing out weeds for something new to grow. So, galactically, myself, I've been part of Galactic Wars and, taking over planets and, destroying them, apparently. Yeah, that's not, people don't want that karma, but I guess somebody's got to do it, right? I did feel I got obsessed with it. It was my alien self. I was like some kind of creature. I enjoy taking over planets and just wiping them out left and right. So that's right. I was told about that well after I got channeling, and then slowly I can feel it within myself, and I feel like you're human, but you're like a monster type of creature. So, but I was going to give some like detail of what that looks like exactly. So, at least what I got recently on it, and if anything else comes of it. So like you're born on like a military planet, like we'll just use reptilians for example, but it doesn't have to be them. It can be anything. So you're born on a reptilian planet. That's a war planet. So it just and this reptilian planet is they try to make truce with other planets, like at least the vision I got, because they don't really show what kind of species it was. I just use reptilians because it's like people know what that is. But there was like a world that the reptilian beings were occupying. Well, it's like a trade planet. It was like a nice world, nice things, but they're kind of controlling it in some ways to get their way. And other alien beings seem to be okay with that. They'd rather just them go away altogether, but they kind of made it work. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it's not making it so. Either way, it's like a planet that's full with kind of like ours, with a lot of resources connected to it. Then you have a reptilian world that's kind of like a hell planet to some degree, and then you have another planet somewhere. But if you're born on a reptilian planet, at least from my incarnation cycle, from what I've gathered, there's two ways of going about it if you want to take over. So you incarnate, and you start within the military, and let's see what else. Either you show your power, like you can kick somebody's ass, um, but then you kind of downgrade yourself. It's like, yeah, he was a good warrior, but he's kind of the past training he's been going through has been kind of mediocre. So it's like people think you're just average. So you do that on purpose, so you can show others you got stuff going on. You can kick somebody's ass. You can be a leader, but you don't want your bosses to know that. So you go and you create your regime. So you get people together for a coup. You slowly do it now. Other beings might hear about it. Other reptilian beings might hear about it, but they don't think anything of you, so they don't care. So then you take their weapons, you steal their weapons, you wipe out the boss, and then eventually you find a way to kill the planet. You go into the planet's core and should just attack it. Our planet's core is obviously very protected, but in this world's case, it wasn't. So you make it sick, the planet's sick, where beings have to get the hell off of it before it destroys itself. So, and that's how you take over world. But while you're doing that, you go to other planets and wipe them out. Like that resource planet, you wipe that out too. You don't have to have a good reason for it. Just do it to piss everybody off. Because you get everybody out of control. Just to put that out there. And there's another world that got destroyed too, but I'm not sure what that one was. So that's the vision I got. So if you want to know how to take out a planet or how you become a person like that, at least one of my reptilian memories was actually was in school, uh, like in middle school. I remember like out of nowhere, I was normal, and then all of a sudden I was ready to kick somebody's ass out of nowhere because I saw weakness in a person. Without going into detail of that, I just saw weakness, and I just flipped. It's like, this is not me. So I got from that, it takes me this long to figure that out. It took me this long to figure that out. That's not something I want to think about. I felt bad about it. So it could just flip out on somebody out of nowhere. So, but as a reptilian being, when you're taking over planets or wiping them out left and right, you're always on guard. You're ready. You're in attack mode, full scale. Like there's no taking breaks. You might take a break for a little bit, but you go after worlds that you can invade, that you can destroy. take their resources, take whatever you need, and just wipe the place out. So basically, it's like you break in to steal whatever, and just you got like 2 hours, this place is gone, something like that. So, and there's also technologies that actually lower a planet's vibration. Like you can't see the planet, but you know something's there. You actually have technologies to actually lower the planet's vibration, so you can actually get into it, so you can mess it up and take it out. At least that's what I've been feeling from that. Yeah, you just go on a whole, you just do a purge, a major purge. You're going after beings that can't, that aren't getting their shit together. They're just high vibration. It doesn't mean it's always high vibration. It could be an insectoid parasite planet you go after. You go after everybody, and then eventually other worlds get the idea of, okay, this guy's coming to kill all of us. So we gotta either get our defenses together, get our shit together, or we're gone. At least that's not all planets, but it's quite a few. Yeah, some of these worlds when they're all like, "Oh, our world's always positive." It's like, are you sure about that? It's like because also you put infiltrators on there too. Now a lot of these planets are fourth dimension, but not all of them. A lot of them are fifth dimension. It doesn't matter. You can find sixth dimensional worlds too. You just gotta know what you're doing. You can find a way to make that work. It's I'm just putting that out there for those that are trying to figure all this out. It's just when you hit a high vibrational level and you're not evolving, what purpose do you have anymore? I mean, there are some planets where they're just paradise worlds where usually they don't get messed with. They just get left alone. Like you go to a beach planet and that's just at the beach. But there are other planets that have, you don't mess with some of them. It's just not worth it. But there are worlds where, it's worth taking out for some bizarre reason. I don't know the whole details of why. It's just like, I guess you just feel like, that world needs to go away. So, but when you destroy a world, the species goes and connects to somebody else, creates a whole nother species. Obviously, they get a little bit wiser to their ways. They become motivated. They evolve. It's just helping other worlds evolve. But once again, you're out destroying planets. But I mean, just wiping them out like this. I mean, who has the guts for that? First off, not many souls have the guts for that. Somebody's got to do it, and then I don't know how I got involved with it, but I got involved with it. I guess it just environment, it's different things, and you just become good at it. It's bad. We don't always see it. What you're doing is bad either. You just like it's like Dark Vader looks like it looks like a 5-year-old. It looks like a joke basically compared to the stuff that I've been picking up on. So we're getting like a diluted version of what's going on in the universe. We get like a watered down version of it. It's a lot more intense out there than we realize. So, but once again, you're taking out like some positive planets that pretty much aren't going anywhere, but they're also wiping out, like I said, parasite worlds that are just garbage anyway. So, slave planets on different levels. So it has a positive connection to it. So when you're doing all this wiping out of everything, you get knowledge. Of course, you're building up all kinds of karma. It's just not pleasant. But and then of course, after a lifetime of blowing everything up, you get back on a spiritual level, or do stuff like what I'm doing, things like that. I don't have the full details of everything I've done, but this whole planet taking over thing is definitely part of my lineage somewhere. It wasn't necessarily always in this universe. It has been done in this universe. In the early stages of the universe, I believe that some of this had to do with the help the human evolve. Actually, well, yeah, because you have planets. Yeah, you have worlds where you have a version of human that's not really going anywhere, and you just take it out, and it motivates once again for the human to evolve in a different way. So, yeah, it's pretty out there. Of course, you don't see it here happening, but I can definitely feel it. So, I mean, I got a download just like that. So, there's another way. So when you start out, like on a military planet, you can also just like, if you already know you're a badass, like, you got motivations to take over, the military. You just you can also go in because they can detect if you're hiding something. So you just go in as just a mediocrity, basically, like an average. You're not showing everybody you can kick everybody's ass. You just go in an average. It's like you scale yourself down. It's like, and they might sense you're up to something, but they can't. But everybody's up to something, so they can't really decipher you from anybody else. So if you do have a coup there, you just have to act like you're an average soldier. You're not that great, and you get some people together, and they may not be on your side, but it's like we're going to do some shit here, and then you show, and then you do a bunch of shit, and you take out the commanders and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I can feel it as clear as day. That's part of how it works. There's probably other ways. Try to let people hear and believe anything of that. Sure. Our world's got a long, this world's got a long ways for anything, it seems. Um, but yeah, that's like some of my galactic past. Of course, that's when you incarnate to, you bring your knowledge here to change things for the better. You can see, false gurus and things like that because you've created them on other planets. The spy rings, I feel very connected to, um, the CIA stuff like that because you have to have your own to mess around. Like you have to have your own queen. You can even get your own queen to put on a planet and screw them around for a while until you get over there to wipe the place out. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do. So, but this world comes back to this planet. This planet is obviously heavily protected. Those other planets weren't apparently. But this one's like a karmic world too. It's like a lot of beings come here for their own karma, and you don't really want to take it out. To add to that, though, what I was feeling recently. Now, that's not something I've like the forest fires here, like is it like California and other places, but definitely California. It shows that some beings are coming here to invade. And some reason, the forests they go after the forest for some reason, like the Earth's vibration, something like that. It's an easy target. Creating a hurricane is a little bit more difficult. It's like, yeah, so we have doorways here where other beings can come in, and I don't know, it just leads to a forest fire. I know it sounds a little bit strange, but it's like their marker, like we're trying to take over your planet, and we've had other beings trying to take over this place. It's just not clear to us. It feels like it's been done here. That's why you have different eras and things like that. A new regime comes in, like is it a new Illuminati, whatever? Yeah. So, but yeah, I feel like some of the forest fires are related to it. Not all of them, but some of them. So that's what. But the Earth's core is very protected because that's how you hit this place. You just go to the core, you screw with it just a little bit, and the world can't handle it, and goodbye. So, it feels like there's so many galactic forces around this place protecting it. It's like nearly impossible to blow this place up. But even whoever does blow it up is going to get so much karma. Is it even worth it? Because, like I said, I feel like it's a karmic planet, so it's trying to clear out a lot of other stuff for various reasons. So, um, yeah, that's all I got on that. That's all they allowed me to see. I guess that's enough. All right, we're going to the Wolf Realm and anybody else that's around. So, all right, and maybe with the future where that's heading into. Okay, this is. Greetings. We are the Wolf Collective. We are similar to those that came in previously. Our yes, there are wolf realms, worlds where there are of chaos, of not trusting anyone, of this canine world. I mean, there's countless. I mean, yes, there are thousands and thousands of worlds of different, just canine worlds, just canine, and many not trusting each other. Just similar to your plan, but not to this extent of having to go to a job, but we do have worlds where there are intense situations. But it also shows why you have genetic engineering, like you have like a puppy, like a little poodle puppy and things like that, to show there is a more kinder side. That there's more to just war, because there are many wolf planets that are genetically. Some of them have been genetically engineered to become werewolves. So not all of them, but some of them have been, and a lot of it is connected to disease, where a wolf just or humanoid just turns into a wolf, where human and wolf has been combined together. But wolf planets in general are, yes, war planets that, yes, do not trust anyone. But then we find, like you say, a little puppy dog, or we hot dog dogs, things like that. We're quite curious for us to. It's like we look at things like, is that a mutation of something of sorts? What is that? Because not all canine worlds know about themselves, and why would they? Just like human worlds, they don't know about yourselves. There's always a canine world being developed somewhere at some time. So this is a bunny rabbit world and so forth. So there's always different types of growth. But the human turning into a werewolf, yes, those are the more complicated worlds where there are humans that actually get a disease similar to like the zombies. But this is a lot more violent, of course. This isn't like a zombie just walking around just trying to eat somebody. Well, somewhere, but the werewolves are, yeah, have an agenda. They don't know what. Well, some of them go through mind control also, depending on whoever created the virus to begin with. So the reason why we're bringing this to you is that, yeah, you're going through a lot of mind control at this time more than ever. Some, yes, humans are being sent to certain planets, certain realities. That's why the health situations happen, because the world is going to go through a new timeline altogether, where you're going to see a lot of changes, nonstop changes, but not it's not happening yet, but it's in the works. Where things that you never thought was going to happen are going to happen, but it's hard to predict it at this time because a lot of those predictions have been quiet or closed off for various different reasons. You're not supposed to know yet. But some of you can tap into them to a certain extent, but you're not always sure if it's going to happen or not. But the planet here is going into just a reawakening, a rude awakening, you can say right now, but awakening of seeing more deeper into itself, seeing the fraud that is here. And you're seeing it now, but goes much more deeper. So think about scandal after scandal, and it goes into a level of where your human trafficking is. I mean, yes, you see negativity already now, but what about when it starts showing itself? Isn't that what you want? Yes, it's hard to handle and take in, but it is necessary for your growth. And that's what you're here to. Well, we're not sure where this is going to go, how deep this is going to go into your awakening, but you can see your world is opening up for truth to find itself. Or parts of Hollywood will start to implode, but not entirely. Old traditions will no longer be the same. This is kind of like a Renaissance slash Dark Ages. You're going into, yes, a more of a spiritual understanding, where the angelic energies are going to get stronger on your planet. Miracles will happen. They've already happened before, but with chaos comes out a new era, deeper than what you've had before, at least in recent times. So you can say technically this is kind of like your modern war, but it's not. It's basically modern, transformation. We don't have a timeline where this is going to occur. That is up in the air, but some of you are tapping into those vibrations. With the wolf energies, some of you can tap into our realms. There's many, 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 many places there. Whether wolf is, yes, your friend, and also where they are far from it. Where wolves, yes, are talking to people. I believe that was done in fantasy, where a wolf actually comes to you and mentally talks to you. Yeah. Those are more like a fantasy realms, but they're more fourth dimensionally connected. Let's put it that way. A lot of your wolf beings here are actually police officers. Notice how some of them get along with canines pretty well. And normally they're honest ones, but there are wolves that are far from honest, that are completely corrupt. But they have a way of hiding themselves, cloaking their vibrations so you can't see what they're up to. So, and even some wolf beings do work with cat beings here. Meaning a cat is normally a female, normally. Not always, but it's like a canine and like a wolf and a feline would work together. It's normally the wolf is the male, the feline is a female. If they're going to do some kind of corruption, Bonnie and Clyde, for example. Just to give you an idea, it's usually like yin and yang. Like even some of your famous drug dealers are usually a male and a female. So the female is very seductive. The male is very, in your face, very wolf-like. Some of your gangsters are very connected to wolves. Sopranos, some of it, not all of it. It's not always reptilians. You sometimes think it's all reptilians. It's not always reptilians. Some of your famous drug dealers are wolf beings. They become obsessed with things. Well, a lot of it comes from just hurt from their own generations where they feel misunderstood or just feel neglected, and they bring that rage here, and they become a drug dealer, a popular one, and take over places like something like Miami. So it's just not seen here. Of course, some wolves, yes, are known to dress well also as gangsters. But this is more around your 1980s, 70s, 80s time period. Yeah, it's just not made clear for obviously because it looks like a human. But yeah, it's a canine energies. The connections is serious. Of course, there are Syrian beings that are canine that are very much spiritually inclined that just have all of the knowledge, at least in a way where the spiritual of understanding, like they've cleared out their darkness, but they allow worlds like yours to exist. Of course, so they can always turn it off easily through your Egyptian timelines. Egypt can activate, make things happen, and not. It's not necessarily a controller, but a lot of your timelines run through Egypt due to the gods that were here, like Anubis. It's just not always making itself clear. It's not supposed to. But as you go into more of an awakening state on different levels of yourself, you'll see how connected the canine is. Basically, to guide you to yourselves. Let the darkness out, because the wolf has a lot of darkness. I mean, that's why one of the reasons the canine was brought here, because it knows a lot. It's had a deep history with the universe, and also a friendly connection with the human. As you see here, humans and canines get along pretty well. So it's a perfect companion for your existence here, but also to help you figure out what you want. If you want a very simplistic life, because you get a canine being at home, it can actually shift your timeline. It's like, you know what? I think my master cannot handle the stress. Of course, that's not always the case, but there are cases where the canine is playing a big role in your sanity, as many of you know. Where you have a timeline where it's allowed to happen. Not all timelines are necessary. for healing. Sometimes you're on your own. You're not on your own, but it's just a different vibration. So many humans have relied themselves connections with the canine on many different levels for their own survival. Even throughout the universe wars with other alien beings, the canine's always been there for them, but not for all. For so those that feel very connected to dogs, it's not for every, but it's most likely that was your savior from another life. No, and they're just in dog form. Doesn't mean that they're in alien, you know, suited up alien form. They're having cases of that. But if you're very like you need to have a dog, it's because it played a role in a recent lifetime. Normally saving your life in some form or another. And that become more clear over time. Now some have found their own darkness, and a canine can help release it. Doesn't mean you're gonna be abusive to the canine, but just where you can help forgive yourself. Now bulldogs, the dogs that are used for fights, those are normally reptilian people, humans that are using dogs and they modify their DNA and all that to fight, just to war. And this is this has been done galactically also, where alien canines have been their DNA has been manipulated where they just go nuts. But humans have had the same thing happen to them too. As many of you experiencing at this time. So it's just, yes, unlocking your planet little by little of your connection to the dog people. Now there are canine beings, especially in your Egyptian time frame, where they've learned a lot of these lessons already. They haven't learned them all. They're not perfect, far from it. A lot of these gods, these ancient gods, no, they have a lot of flaws still. But they can help you through your flaws. Can they help themselves through their flaws? But that's what you're there for. You're all helping each other. Just because you're getting knowledge from a higher God to help you with your life. So here's reading, here's writing, here's music. And once you figure those things out, you can help us. Because we're trying to figure stuff about ourselves that we've forgotten.